Okay, so we're in the middle of MIshpatim, Sicha Gimel, Krach Lamed Aleph. We're talking about why is Rashi, when it says Lo tiyeh mashkela b'kar ba'artzecha, you will not be barren. You can pick up your chairs if you want to move. You will not be barren or stillborn in your land. Rashi says, if you do my will. We had a whole question on what's going on there. And we said, from the pshuto of the pshat of the pasuk, it implies, and the kavana, when it says, you will serve Hashem your God, it's not the general fulfilling of God's will, which means keeping Torah mitzvahs in general, ella shlilat avoda zara. It's rather a negation of avoda zara. Because in the pasuk before it says, Lo tishtachaveh lelokim, lo ta'avdem. Don't bow down to other gods and don't serve them. Ki hares ta'arsem, v'varatem et Hashem lokechem. And you also serve your God, and therefore serving your God means a negation of avodah zarah. So Rashi comes and makes a diuk. He makes an inference when he says Lo tiyeh mashkela. When he says you will not be stillborn. V'shina milashon hakatuv avadatem, and it changes from the verse where it says avadatem, and he writes im ta'aseh retzoni. If you will do my will. What does that mean? Hainu shatnai lebracha zu. The condition of this bracha of not being stillborn or barren, eina v'avadatem, is not v'avadatem in the previous pasuk. Ella asiyat retzono, rather it's doing God's will, which means doing the mitzvahs. The katuv ze kai alifnei fanav, and this verse goes on what it says before. It says hishamer mipanav v'shma b'kolo. You should be careful in front of him and listen to his voice. If you will surely listen in his voice and you do everything which he says, which basically means doing all of the mitzvahs. That when the Jewish people do his will, so in addition to all the promises that says above, that'll destroy your enemies, etc., it says Lo tiyeh mashkela, that you will not be barren. So basically, there was brachas brought before for the specific things, but then here, if you do God's will in general, after all that, you won't be barren or miscarriage. Okay. Therefore, we can understand what the verse says, Lo tiyeh mashkela, and it says Lo tiyeh mashkela. It doesn't have a vav, meaning it doesn't connect to what was said right before it, in order to make a distinction for what it says before it, and to emphasize is not a continuation of serving Hashem, rather it's related to what was said even before that.
We still don't have a clear opinion what it meant to be barren.
Barren means that the woman cannot get pregnant.
That's what we're saying in this.
Infertile, yeah.
In this way, of talking about it having to do with the life in this place.
Well, it means people want to have children, right? And then it means you're not going to be barren. According to what we're saying, is we're going to do what's all Pnimius and Yanim at the end, a little bit, okay? Okay, there's another question that remains, okay? Why is this bracha of Lo tiyeh mashkela, you will not be stillborn, Shiba davka biglal asiyat retzono, that comes by fulfilling God's will, Lo rak biglal v'vadatem et Hashem, not only because you served Hashem. Basically, we said when it says that you will not be barren, you don't have a miscarriage, right? This is a bracha that comes because you're doing God's will. Means if you will keep, as Rashi says, if you do God's will. And not only because you're serving Hashem, because when you're serving Hashem, Hashem gives you the bracha of the bread and of the water, and He'll take away your enemies. That's by serving Hashem. So there's a difference between doing God's will and serving Hashem, that this bracha is specifically doing God's will. Why over there? We have to first see what the pasuk says. You will not have a stillborn be'artzecha, in your land. Seemingly, we had a question on it above. Okay, Dim ta'aseh ratzoni, since that even this bracha is on a condition that if you do my will. Madua nitna bracha rak ba'atzecha. Why is the bracha only given in your land? Not in every place we do God's will. So why does the pasuk specifically say in your land? That means the chutz haaretz doesn't apply. So what does it mean? According to the simple meaning, in which Rashi himself doesn't even have to explain, when it says lo tiyeh maskela ba'artzecha hu pshuto kemashmo, it's simply what it is implying. So bracha zu ein rak la'adam prati. This bracha is not to a specific person. That this that a person is doing God's will. Ella bracha la'aretz is actually the bracha of the land itself. And it says lo tiyeh maskela ba'artzecha. Hainu bracha hi la'aretz. The bracha is to the earth. That if you do God's will, then the earth changes its nature to be a land in which there is no maskela and akara. So therefore, it could apply to any land that you're in. But Hashem is giving a bracha to the land, that the land will change if you do God's will.
So meaning that things will grow and stuff?
Whatever is on the land will have that bracha that the land is holding. The land is holding the people that are on the land. So if the people do God's will, then the land will have some type of bracha that will protect people from having stillborns and barrenness.
Is this Eretz Israel only?
So we're saying no, it's wherever people do God's will. Then the land will protect the people. There's a bracha to the land that will have an effect when we do God's will in whatever land we're in.
That could be America.
Could even be America.
Even Canada.
Even Canada.
Even
It
Canada.
could be Canada.
Even Canada.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Not joking.
Even the Yukon.
Yeah.
True,
Even Yellowknife.
Even Yellowknife.
Yeah.
Northwestern Territory.
Even the BTP, the Miskameng. Never heard of it? City in Quebec. So, when it says Ba'artzecha, it's not coming to limit this bracha that it's only in Eretz Yisrael, but rather to extend the bracha that comes through doing God's will. The bracha extends lo rak la'adam oser tzonana, not only to the person that's doing the will of God, but it brings bracha to all of the land of all of Eretz Yisrael kula. Okay.
Even the Arabs are benefiting from
They have fruits and vegetables now, right? Because we're here.
Because they're doing something right.
Yeah. So according to this, we can understand the pshat of the reason why this bracha is, first of all, a reward on doing God's will, which means fulfilling everything that God says, and not only avadatem et Hashem, not only serving Hashem, but rather doing the will of Hashem, because serving Hashem, we said before, serving Hashem implies the negation of serving idols, but doing God's will is different. So why is this bracha? The reason why we get this bracha is because we're doing God's will as opposed to serving Hashem, which means negating idol worship. Okay, why? Because this bracha that's so big demands us to fulfill all of the mitzvahs. And only, okay, Rak be'atzecha, okay, actually here what it says, that it's only in the land and not in chutz haaretz. This bracha is actually connected to doing God's will in Eretz Yisrael. That this is a special place that Hashem prepared for the Jewish people. Because it says, I will bring you to the place in which I prepared for you. Therefore, fulfilling of His will in this land causes a very bracha that's very specific to the whole land. Okay, I guess we understood it wrong when it says ba'artzecha. It means that we're doing Hashem's will and the whole land gets blessed. But when we're in this land of Israel, because that's a special land that we're going towards. So we understood it wrong. So not America and Canada. Also. No,
What
Canada.
about Yellowknife?
It's in Canada. It's not good enough here.
Fort Vermilion?
What?
third place enough.
Only Israel, you could do it like this, okay? In Chutz Aretz, the bracha goes of lo tia maskela v'she'en ken b'chutz Aretz nishimshecha the bracha lo yivishka rak la'adam zeos ah. So basically, the difference is when you're in the land and you're doing God's will, so then you're you're doing God's will causes that all of people of the land benefit from it. But if you're in Chutz Aretz doing God's will, then only you get the benefit. It doesn't spread. It doesn't spread to the other people in the land. Only in Israel, since this is a special place, you do God's will. We're going to see what that means specifically. Then you get the bracha and spreads everywhere else. Okay.